Hello everybody. Happy Monday. Today's workout is going to be inside and it's going to be a yoga stretch. So I'm going to be taking you guys through a little bit of a flow, more of a stretch today. I've got a yoga strap here. If you've got a strap or something that you can use at home to help with some of the stretches, please grab that. You can also use a belt if you don't have a yoga strap at home. That works really well as well. Just make sure it's long enough. If you need to grab some equipment, pause this video and I will meet you over at the mat. I am going to be playing some music today as well, so I hope that you can hear it. You can give me some feedback after you've done the session today. All right, let's get started. Okay, coming over to your mat, we're going to start in a cross-legged position. So just in a comfortable seated position for you. If you feel uncomfortable at all sitting in a cross-legged position, something that we can do is we can actually take a rolled towel, lift it up, place it underneath the hips, sit on top of the towel. That's going to allow your body to lift up and allow you to cross a little bit more at the legs, opening up at the hips. Another option is to take one leg out in front of you. So choosing whichever position feels best. Starting cross-legged. Let's bring the wrists to the insides of the knees. Index finger and thumb are clasped and eyes are closed. Starting off by taking a moment to connect with our breathing. If we can, I'd like you to try and perform the duration of the class today with the mouth closed. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose and making the exhalation longer than the inhale. Also, with every exhalation, I'd like you to imagine as if you were saying the word ah through the back of the throat. By slowing down the breathing, we allow the thoughts in our minds to quiet down and allow our bodies a chance at a real rest. As we slow down the breathing now, I'd like you to take a moment and think about what it is you need today. Taking those thoughts and feelings and forming them into either a word or a sentence. We'll use that as our mantra for this session. Thinking about that word as we exhale. If at any point today you feel your mind starting to wander, please gently bring it back to the sound of your breath, or bring the thoughts back to what it is you need today. Remembering that yoga is a journey that each and every one of us takes differently. In this first asana now, please think about sitting tall. Ears are in line with our shoulders. Shoulder blades are pulled back and in line with the hips, and the heart center is lifted tall. And now on our next inhale, please gently bring the right ear to the right shoulder, relaxing the neck on the left-hand side, creating space between the earlobe and the shoulder blade, melting away any tension or stress you might be carrying here. Gently dropping chin to the chest, releasing through the back of the neck. And slowly coming to the opposite side. This time the right shoulder blade is dropping as that earlobe lifts towards the ceiling. Remember to relax the shoulder blades down and away from the ears. here, please gently bring the head back to neutral. Opening up the eyes. Now please lift your gaze to where the ceiling meets the wall. Opening the mouth slightly as we exhale through the back of the throat. Gently bringing the gaze back to neutral. With the eyes open, now let's come into a forward facing position on our mats. Bringing the palms underneath the shoulders. Now knees are underneath the hips. Fingertips are spread and planted firmly into the ground. On the inhale, we're going to let the belly hang, lifting the chin up and towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, let's round the spine, pulling the chin in towards the chest. Inhaling as we breathe into cow pose. And exhaling through cat. Please do that a few more times at your own pace. One more here. Gently coming back to a neutral spine position. From here, let's open up the ankles. So bring the knees wide apart and bring the big toes together. Gently dropping the tailbone towards the feet. Bringing the upper body towards the ground. Option 1 is to stack the hands into 2 fists, allowing the forehead to rest on top of the hands. And option 2 is to bring the forehead all the way down to the ground as we take a breath in child's pose. Nice deep breath here. This is a great pose to do if you suffer from any kind of headaches, migraines, headaches from stress. Beautiful. From here, looking up towards the fingertips, let's walk the hands away from us to a position where the forearms are completely lifted up and off the ground. We're using starfish hands, so fingertips are spread wide, lifting the seat, rolling toes underneath, hips into the air, body weight back towards the heels, coming into a downward facing dog position. So we want to listen to what our body needs here. If a little bit of a bend in the knees feels better for you, please allow your body to do so. I'd like you to think about bringing the body weight through the thumb and index finger rather than the wrist and the palm. Tucking the armpits underneath the chest to activate that mid-back, and the tailbone is lifted high. Head is heavy. Gaze can be between the ankles, between the knees, or we can allow the eyes to close. Your choice. From here, let's come high up on the tiptoes, exhaling as the heels come back down to the ground, and then alternating sides. Lifting one heel and then the other. Both heels up together. Exhaling as the heels come back down to the ground, gently coming into a plank or push-up position. Option 1 is to bring the knees to the floor and release the feet. Option 2 is to stay on the tiptoes. From this position, I'd like you to come forward on the toes or knees and gently lower all the way down to the ground. Release the body to the ground, coming up onto the forearms. Option 1, hands are together, elbows underneath the shoulders. We're going to lift out of the shoulder joint and then lift the tummy up and off the ground. Tighten that seat. Gaze is in a neutral position in front of us. Option 2, thumbs come underneath the chest and we lift all the way up and into an upward facing dog, balancing on the fronts of the feet. Beautiful. Inhaling all the way down and exhaling to down dog. Okay, we're going to generate a little bit of heat here, so let's do that again. Inhaling to a plank. Knees or toes, lowering all the way down slow. Lifting up either into an upward facing dog or a cobra, your choice. And coming back to down dog. Doing that again, inhaling to a plank. If you'd like to add a little resistance, we can add a push up here. Again, your choice. And back to down dog. Let's do that 2 more times through. Again, with or without the push-up, you choose. One more. Beautiful. Knees coming to the ground. Once again, let's sit back into child's pose. Take a moment here just to allow your body to feel any new sensations you might be having. Beautiful. Okay, coming all the way up into an all fours position, and then I'd like you to take your right leg forward. So what I want you to try and do is bring that knee over top of the ankle. If we want, we can lean forward, coming up on the ball of that back foot. Otherwise, you can stay on the knees. I'm going to show you option one first. So what we want to do is we want to focus on that stretch in the hip flexor of that back leg. Hands can rest on the front of the thigh. Try not to lean forward. I'd like you to push back. Bring your gaze to a neutral position in front of you and simply breathe. Now, if you feel stable here, we can bring both arms straight up and towards the ceiling. This is option one. Option two is to come up on the ball of the foot. If you feel comfortable balancing, or that gives you a deep stretch here. If you have any kind of discomfort or pain, come back down to the knee. Option one or option two. One more breath. Beautiful. Gently pushing back, changing sides. Other leg comes forward. And again, we're going to start here on the knee. Anchor that knee over the ankle, anchor the knee over the ankle. Feel and find that stretch in the hip flexor on that back leg. Option one is staying here, trying not to give into the temptation of leaning forward. If we're staying on the knees, arms can come up. Otherwise, hands forward on the ball of that foot. Finding our balance. Stretch first. So find that nice big stretch and then reaching. Again, choosing the option that feels best for you here. Big breath. Beautiful. Gently coming back. Coming back into that all fours position. Tucking the toes underneath. Let's bring the tailbone up. And then from here, I'm going to get you to walk your feet forward. Bring the tailbone towards the ground. And both legs straight out in front. Okay, this is where our strap or belt is going to come in, if you'd like to use it. Before we go any further, once we're seated, let's take the meaty part of our seat away from the sit bones. So the sit bones are firmly pressed into the floor. Taking our strap, I'd like you to take that strap or belt and place it around the balls of the feet. Please be very careful not to place it on the toes or on the arches. Draw both ends together. Take a big breath in. As the toes are lifting in, we're pulling that strap towards us. We're going to gently walk the upper body forward. Be very careful not to collapse into this pose. I'd like you to think about leading with the heart. Now, for those of you who feel comfortable enough reaching for the toes and don't want the assistance of the strap, we can place the strap down on the ground and simply reach for the toes. Close the eyes. We can tuck the chin into the chest, but once again, try not to allow the body to round. Melt away any tension or stress you might be feeling. Listen to the body, feeling that stretch in the backs of the legs, possibly through the lower back. And as we inhale, let's gently come up. If you're holding onto the strap, release that strap, lifting, coming back up to a seated position. Bending both knees, bringing both soles of the feet towards the seat. We're going to take the fingertips behind us now. Fingertips are pointed towards the spine. Now, if you have any discomfort in the wrists in this position, we can use a fist with the thumb on the outside. Okay. From here, let's round the shoulders back. As we exhale, gently peeling the hips up and off the floor. Gaze is in a neutral position in front of us, so please be very careful not to allow the head to fall back. Tighten that seat. Should be able to wiggle the toes. If the toes don't wiggle, scooch the feet just a little bit farther forward. Gently coming all the way back down to the ground. And then this time, let's take the right or left leg out in front of us. We're going to bend the opposite knee. I'm going to shift slightly so you can see me. So the opposite foot. So let's use your right leg. Right leg is close to the midline of the body. Left toe is lifted up and towards the ceiling. Once again, using that strap, placing it around the ball of that foot. Taking a big breath in, and as we exhale, let's lean down towards that side. If you feel comfortable without the strap, we can reach for the toe and simply breathe. Gently coming all the way up. Same hand as that leg. I'd like you to reach forward. So if you're using the strap, drop that strap. Opposite arm comes up and leaning over. Big reach. Ribs are going to lift up and away from the lungs, allowing the body to take a little bit of a deeper breath here. Beautiful. All the way up. Let's switch sides. Other way. Standing the leg out in front of us. Opposite leg comes somewhere close to the midline. Big breath in, hinging over top of that extended leg, toes are lifted, and we're gently reaching forward. We're using the strap. Once again, strap is on the ball of the foot, being very careful not to grab onto the toes or the arch. And as we exhale, allowing the body to fold forward. One more big breath. Beautiful. Same arm reaches, opposite arm comes up and over. Big stretch. Beautiful, coming all the way up. Okay, let's take both legs straight out in front. So that straight leg, the one that we were reaching towards, I'd like you to take that leg, so your right leg, cross it over the left knee. We're going to hug that knee with the opposite arm. So my left arm is coming towards that right leg. Left arm comes up behind us, sitting tall first, hugging that knee close, and then twisting to the right side of the room. If you like, you can place the opposite elbow on the outside of the knee. Gently coming all the way back to center, switching sides, crossing the other leg over, sitting tall, hugging the knee, So simply hugging and twisting, or we can place the opposite elbow on the outside of the knee, choosing the position that feels best for you today. All the way back to the middle. Okay, from here, both soles of the feet coming together. Grabbing onto the ankles. Now, once again, if sitting like this gives you any discomfort, we can lift our hips up and off the ground by rolling a large towel underneath the seat. If you have a foam brick, we can sit on that as well. Grabbing onto the ankles, taking a big breath in. I'd like you to imagine a string on the middle of the chest. As we exhale, we're going to push the inner thighs towards the floor as the heart center comes forward. Feeling that stretch in the inner thighs. Slowly coming all the way up. Let's bring both knees together. Okay, turning to face one side of the mat, we're going to come all the way down into the ground. Just going to move my strap out of the way. Grabbing onto the backs of the legs, rolling all the way down to the floor. Hugging the knees, gently rolling side to side. And bringing both soles of the feet to the floor in front of us, about hip width distance apart. From here, we're going to pull that navel in, and as we exhale, gently peel the hips up and off the floor. Tightening the seat. Engaging that lower back, breathing in a modified bridge. So in this asana, please try not to give into the temptation of opening up the knees. I'd like you to keep those knees in line with the hips, imagining as if you're squeezing a beach ball or a foam brick between the knees. From here, let's gently lift the left knee up towards the chest, shifting the body weight to that right leg. And switching sides, opposite leg comes up. Gently bringing that opposite leg straight down to the ground, followed by the hips. This time doing a pelvic tilt, so lower back presses into the ground, hands on the fronts of the legs, and we're simply going to reach towards the knees, floating the shoulder blades up and off the ground. Gaze is in a neutral position in front of us, belly button is drawn in so the core is working. And lowering all the way down to the floor, extending the legs out in front of us, arms up above the head, take a breath. Pull those knees into the chest. Taking that left foot towards the ground, crossing that right ankle at the left knee, interlacing the fingers underneath that left thigh. So right arm, right or left arm towards the middle, bottom leg. Sorry, probably your right leg. And then relaxing the upper body down to the ground, and then also releasing that foot. Breathing in and lying down, pigeon pose. Releasing all the way down, switching sides, crossing the opposite ankle at the knee, interlacing fingers underneath that bottom leg, upper body relaxes down, And releasing the foot and simply breathing. Beautifully done. Gently releasing that leg to the ground. Let's bring both soles of the feet to the floor. Extend the legs out in front of us. Shaking the knees up for a moment. Bringing both heels back up. From here, let's lift the hips and shift them about 3 inches to our left side and then lower down. To my right side, actually. I'm going to take my opposite leg, straighten it to the floor. So my left, grabbing onto the outside of my right leg, pulling that right leg across the length of the body as I extend the right arm up beside me and turn to look towards the right side of the room. Bringing out the back. Beautiful. Gently coming all the way back to the center. Both soles of the feet touching the ground, shifting the hips first to the center and then 3 inches to the other side. Opposite leg straightens down to the ground. I'm going to grab onto the outside of my left leg, pulling the left leg across the length of the body as I extend the left arm out beside me and turning my gaze towards the left side of the room. Eyes are closed, wringing out that spine. And slowly coming all the way back to the middle. Bringing both soles of the feet to the ground, shifting the hips to the center, hugging the knees one more time. Rotating the ankles. And then bringing both soles of the feet to the floor in front of us. Extending the legs out in front of us, arms resting comfortably at our sides with the palms facing up. Eyes are closed. Relax and breathe in corpse pose. Please allow yourself to stay in Savasana anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes, depending on what you need. And then when you're ready, slowly coming up to a waking position. I thank you all for being here today. Namaste. See you all very soon.